Today is Saturday, the 23rd of April 2022, and we are all gathered here for the 29th session on mindfulness for beginners in English. And I would like to welcome with great respect Venerable Bhante Homa Dhamma Kusala Thero to today's session. And I would also like to warmly welcome all the participants joining the session through Zoom today. As the first agenda item in our session, I would like to invite Venerable Bhante to conduct the initial mindfulness in-session practice scheduled for today. Over to Bhante. Much merits.
Hello, everybody. So we are here with another program, Mindfulness for Beginners. And today, instead of a formal meditation, we can do a small activity which is related to mindfulness. So I kindly invite you to take a pen and a piece of paper. If you need to gather it, you can have 1 or 2 minutes. Once you have that, show off the Zoom hand so we know that you are ready. Seems like most of you are ready. We will give you a few more seconds to gather a piece of paper and a pen. Okay, everybody, I think now you should be ready. So this is the activity we are going to do. We will close our eyes. We will pay attention for a while, right? So when you pay attention, you may notice various things. Various objects come into your field of awareness. So what we are going to do is that we are going to close our eyes for a few seconds. Notice something that pops into your field of awareness. Observe that object, and then we are going to write it down on paper, right? So first we close our eyes, pay attention, notice something that pops into your field of awareness. It could be a thought, it could be a sound, it could be future planning, it could be a bodily sensation. Various things may appear. Then when we notice such an object, we observe that object for a few seconds and then we put it on paper. You don't have to go into details of the thoughts. Instead, you can say planning or past incident, something like that, right? So that way, we are going to list down 10 objects, mindfully observing present moment and listing down 10 objects, right? So as a group, we will try to do 1 or 2, then we will give you some time to note down the remaining objects, right? So first, as a group, we will try to find the very first object that we notice when we close our eyes and pay attention. So you may now close your eyes, observe for a few seconds, notice something that comes into your field of awareness, identify that object, then you can write it down on the piece of paper. Okay, I think now you may have the very first object that came into your attention. Anybody would like to share what you noticed?
It's a bodily sensation, Ante.
Okay, so you noticed the bodily sensation.
Yeah.
Right. I noticed my breath, which is also a bodily sensation. Bandula?
Bhante, I noticed my the tongue touching the upper surface. So it's
Okay,
a bodily sensation.
bodily sensation. Anybody else have a different category?
Bhante, it's Nadeep. First,
Yes.
I had a thought, not to think about anything. Then, as soon as that thought goes away, I feel the heaviness of my head, back of my neck, close to the head.
Right. Now, Mante, if you can allow others to talk.
Bhante, I actually, just as I closed my eyes, heard the sound outside of drilling. Yeah, that was my first object.
Okay, right.
Bhante, I heard a voice, Bhante.
Okay. Now, when we pay attention, these various things, it could be thoughts, it could be bodily sensations, emotions, various things, they pop into our attention. They appear, these objects appear in our field of awareness. So it is valuable that we closely observe them. We closely observe and we properly identify them. Sometimes, although suddenly we come to a conclusion, this is that. But when you observe a little bit longer, when you observe with attention, then you notice that it's not the initial object that you thought. Instead, it's something else, right? So it is valuable that we pay close attention and we properly identify the object that we are observing or the object that comes into our attention, right? So another try we will give. Again, we close our eyes, we pay attention, we notice what appears prominent. And that object we are going to observe a little bit closely, properly identify it, and then put it on paper. Once more, we will try.
Weight of arm on the table.
Okay.
Bhante, I could feel the heart rhythm and also the chest expanding, but I didn't feel the chest contracting for some reason.
Okay, I felt the heat around me because it's April in Sri Lanka.
Bhante, I feel my tummy actually raising. It's like air filling in my tummy. And then I feel the falling of the tummy and also that rising and falling, moving upwards towards my chest area.
Right. Sayomi.
Yeah, I heard the rustling of the leaves from a gust of wind, but it was hard to keep my mind on it because then it was overtaken by bird song and also banging. So I didn't. It was hard to, but I tried to keep my mind on just the rustling. But other noises came into my awareness.
Yeah, that's true. So after a while, something else come into your awareness and takes over, right? That's fine. So those are the observations. Okay, so I think now you can take some time. List down 8 more objects. Let the mind flow naturally. Let the attention flow naturally. And list down 8 more objects that you notice. We can have about 5 or so minutes for that. Okay, I think you have a list of 10 things by now. Anybody would like to share their list of items?
Bhante, I have am I feeling the tongue touching the upper surface? So there's the warmness inside the mouth. Then I felt the taste of saliva. So the bitterness taste. Then so while I'm watching that, my head a little bit, I felt like a heaviness in the front head. So there's a background noise I heard. So in between all that, I get my usual object, the breath. So I feel the breath, in breath and out breath. Then again, the mind moves to the head. It's a little bit falling. So I went back to the breath again. So this is
Okay, so those are good observations. When you pay attention, when you keep your awareness, and when you allow your mind to flow naturally, various objects come into your attention, right? So it jumps here and there, but we are attentive and we are noticing. We miss some objects. Majority of the items we miss, but these are the ones that grab our attention, right? So it is okay only to observe the ones that grab your attention and not go after all the things. If you try to go after all the things, it is difficult because there are so many things are there, so many sensations, items, objects are there. It is only a tiny fraction that we are noticing. And that is enough. What comes into your attention is enough, right? So anybody else? I think Sayomi wanted to share.
Yeah, I initially I noticed lots of noises outside. So the rustling of the leaves, bird song, a voice of a child, and then more to bodily sensations. So I was aware of my position of sitting, the pressure on one hand over the other. I then was aware of my breath, but I was also aware of thoughts coming in, of noting these things and what I would write down. So I was aware that it's almost like a conversation. I must write this, or yeah. So I was aware of those thoughts coming in as well.
Okay, so that's a good observation. When you notice something, there's a thought process, how to write it down, what to name, all those things are coming. So it's good that you observed that part as well. Right, I think we have one more hand. Chamari.
Bante, so I started with the hearing the noise outside of drilling, and then noticed the in and out breath, then noticed the weight of the bottom on the cushion, again went into in and out breath. Then there was a planning. I need to write a report today, so I just went into future planning. Then there was a feeling of calmness. Then felt the pressure of legs on the floor mat. Again, in and out breath. And that I have written as my 9th object as well, because that just stayed. And finally, I felt thirsty.
Right, so good observations. And this activity, it is related to something I mentioned last week. Last week I mentioned the importance of identifying something properly and labeling it. So when we pay attention, now the exercise that we have done, we are identifying something. Let's say your breath, you are identifying. Initially you pay attention, you identify. And that is like labeling. Now you know, I feel the breath. I feel the sound of the wind. I feel a bodily sensation. So that's the labeling I was referring to. Not verbally, not saying with inner chatter, like this is sound, thought. Not that process, but paying attention, identifying, noticing, okay, I noticed this thing, right? So this activity is somewhat related to what we discussed last week. Now we gave you some example from Harry Potter, and we mentioned that all the people, they don't want to call the name in that movie. They refer to the you know who, right? Or they refer to him as the one who must not be named. So that's how they refer to him. They don't want to label, they don't want to name, right? But Harry simply calls him by his name, Voldemort. And due to that act, this dark power, he loses most of his power simply because somebody called him by his name, right? So in our practice also, we may get various thoughts, emotions, various things are there, but when we identify them, when we observe closely, and when we know, when we identify, then they lose their power. If you don't know, then their power is so strong. But once you noticed and identify, this is anger, this is thinking, planning future, this is some past incident in my mind. Like that, when you identify these thoughts, emotions, they lose their power, right? So that was the purpose of the activity. But you have to properly identify. If you give it a wrong identification, then their power becomes stronger and stronger. Instead, we try to closely observe, we try to identify correctly, accurately, this is anger, this is jealousy, this is ego, right? That way, when you identify, when you observe, then that helps you to, gain control. And these emotions, thoughts, they lose their power. Similar to that example we got from Harry Potter, right? So it is important that you pay proper attention and you identify. By that simple act, you gain control, and these emotions, thoughts, they lose their power, right? So that's the activity for today. I hope you got some idea about what we are talking. Namanta?
Yes, Bhante, that was a very energizing and insightful activity. And I feel the labeling really sharpens the mindfulness in that specific moment, from moment to moment. Thank you and much merit to Bhante for that. So the next item on our agenda would be to go through the mindfulness report received for today and to go through any questions or statements from the attendees. For that, I would like to warmly invite Bandula to start with the first report for today. Thank you, Bandula.
Sarai Bhante, and dear Dhamma friends. So I received one report today. This is about the sitting meditation. Primary object, body scan awareness, followed by watching breath. Noted sensation starting at top of the head, weight of hair on head, hair touching ear on right face on left, upper eyelid touching lower lid, upper eyelid touching lower lid and upper lip touching lower lip. It observed to arise and disappear. Tongue touching teeth, clothes touching arms, back and legs, buttock and thighs against the chair and feet on floor. Heard different sounds, not distracting. Observed breath in and out of both nostrils, breaking up and disappearing. Few thoughts, short appearing and disappearing. Mind seemed empty for a time. Mind noted to be observing breath again and then appeared to go empty for a shorter time. Disturbed by alarm, an hour had passed. So that's the end of the report, Bhante.
Okay, so all these are observations when you pay attention, right? So you try to sit comfortably, you close your eyes, and you let the mind flow naturally and try to be aware. When you try to be aware, you notice various things. Certain things appear, they disappear. And among them, you might notice something like breath that is prominent, right? So we try to, in a way, we try to hold on to the breath and try to observe it for a while. And when you observe that breath for a while, then this happens. The breath break into pieces and disappear, right? Now there is no object to hold on to. So this is how we progress in our practice. Initially, we hold on to breath. We navigate these stormy seas using the breath. But after a while, you notice the object that I am holding on to that too is disappearing, which could be breath or the movement of the stomach or some other sensation. And when that disappears, now you have nobody to hold on to. You have nothing to hold on to, right? So when that happens, now you learn the art of maintaining mindfulness without an object. Various objects come into your field of awareness. They could be thoughts, emotions, mental images, various things are there. They come into your field of awareness. And among these things, you learn the art of maintaining mindfulness. You learn the skill to maintain mindfulness among these things. So we call this the flow state, right? Now you have no control. Various things are coming and going, and you just try to be aware. As much as possible, you try to be aware, and you let the mind flow naturally. So this is the rhythm of the universe. In order to feel that, you have to, stop doing something. That's all you have to do. We call this the action of non-action, right? You are just aware, but you are not doing anything. Not with your body, not with your mind. Just be aware. Just be, we call, right? When you just be, then you notice this flow. And as long as you stay with it, as long as you embrace that flow, then you are peaceful. And this practice is growing. So in this report, we can see that transformation. Initially you try, initially you do things, but with time you realize that it becomes more and more naturally. And it is important that you understand this transformation. Otherwise, you always try to do something. But this is the best type of meditation. Initially, we start with doing, but towards the end of it, we realize that we don't have to do anything. Instead, we just be. And when you do that, you can feel this flow, this rhythm, this flow state in your mind. And you just have to stay there, be with that. And that flow continues. So it is a good experience that you have. Try to master it by doing it again and again. So you have to make sure you are giving it some time. Again and again you have to do. Every day you are doing. Every day you are spending some time walking, sitting. That is the way to support this practice now. You can do that, and in future also you can share that experience with us.
Bhante, we have received a second report.
Yeah, I got the report, Namant. Yeah, I can read. Yeah. So there's another report we got it, Bhante. Mindful walking from work. As I began to concentrate on the movement of the feet, a cool sensation arose in the brain. The coolness was incredible and indescribable. It ran all over the body. Mind stayed free from thoughts for the duration of the short walk, but the awareness was there. Upon reaching my destination, mind began to wander again. Mindful sitting. Sat down to bring my heart home. Sat down to bring my heart home after a busy day at work. Initially, a lot of thoughts came flooding in, mostly to do with father's recent demise. Could I have done more to save him? But At the same time, an awareness came that these thoughts are impermanent, reflected on the impermanence of them, within bracket, anicca, dukkha, anatma, close bracket. Then they faded away. After a few more minutes, dancing with thoughts, mind became totally empty of thoughts. It stayed empty for a short while, and then an irrelevant thought arose again. Then it passed away. Mind went back to total emptiness and stayed like that for a long time. Day-to-day activities. Find myself being more and more mindful upon walking to work, standing, sitting, etc. But when at work, within bracket, teaching, with the business, no time to notice anything. Your support is very much appreciated, Bhante, to develop my practice and may my reflection be of some use to others with metta. This is end of the report.
Okay, so when you pay attention, when you sit, for example, various thoughts and incidents from the past, they come, right? Especially if you have some dramatic experience recently, then it is natural that these thoughts appear, right? But don't try to avoid them. Don't try to push them away. Instead, let them come and go naturally. We are not suppressing anything. Instead, we let them come. So when they come, it might be hurtful, but still it is healthy to let them flow, let them come, right? Sometimes even throughout the entire sitting, you feel that only the thoughts are there. I'm not sure whether even this is meditation or not. But always various thoughts, incidents, doubts, various things are coming, right? But it is healthy to let them come, let them flow naturally, maintain that awareness. When you maintain that awareness, they do their thing and they go away. Again, something else comes, right? So this is the healing process that we are talking. Otherwise, if you just, keep suppressing these thoughts, it is not good for your health. Instead, we let them flow naturally and try to maintain our awareness. And when that happens, you realize after a while they die down and that emptiness comes. There's peace in your mind. Again, the thoughts appear. So these things, they go in cycles. We just have to wait for a while and see. Then you realize another cycle begins. If you wait longer, then another cycle. Like that it goes, right? And the frequency is becoming higher and higher. The time taken for one cycle is getting lower and lower. So that's how it happens. Initial few cycles, they are the difficult ones. But when you see how they are changing, then they are not so much trouble in disturbing, right? So you just have to do this. And you can maintain this practice throughout your day. So in your report, you mentioned certain things and you tried, and that we are happy about. When you try, that is the important part. And when you do that, you realize that walking short distances among classes, going to work, these things you can be attentive. You can notice. And during work, it is natural. You have no time to separate yourself. Instead, you are fully in that activity. That is fine. That's how we work. Otherwise, we have to stop functioning and do something else. That's not the practice that we are recommending. Instead, embracing the reality more and more. If you are in work, if you have to do something, then do that. Instead of doing that, if we focus on being attentive, then that's not something that we are recommending. Instead, when you work, work. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you drink, drink. So that's the idea of the practice, right? What happens is that we do something, our mind is somewhere else. So if you work, give that the 100% of your attention. Give the full attention and do it successfully. When you walk, give that your attention, do it successfully. When you eat something, give that your attention, eat it very well. Drink, do that, pay attention. You do some work at home, sweeping, then give that your attention. You are washing your clothes, give that your attention. So that's how we are recommending our practice. So it is okay when you work, you are totally in that activity and you don't have to separate yourself. That's not the way. Instead, just be with that activity, let it happen. And that's how we are going to progress. So continue this way and let the thoughts come and go naturally. Don't try to suppress them. And you realize that it is healthy to let them come and go. It is healthy to let them flow naturally. And you can maintain this awareness.
So that's the end of the written reports. If you have any questions, you can raise the Zoom hand and present to Bhante. Samantha, you can speak now.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhante, for taking my question. I was just wondering now, if there's a pestering thought that keeps lingering and doesn't, even if you keep watching, it doesn't really, it fades, it doesn't go, it keeps coming back, maybe perhaps because of a situation that's an intense situation or something that the memory, the thought has latched on, the mind has latched on to that thought and it keeps recurring. Then how, if it's not, when you're watching, if it's not really going away, then how can one, without suppressing it, deal with that thought? Could one review the situation and see, say if I was at fault in that situation, see, or maybe next time I could have done this, react, do this way, and so there's a little bit of inner chatter going on in the mind then, and then reason it out within yourself, and then to then understand that thought, and then so maybe that would helpful to let it go. But I'm just wondering how in difficult thought situations, how one can, what one can adopt to sort the recurring thoughts, Bhante.
Okay, now when things happen, let's say something dramatic that happened recently, maybe you are at fault, you did something wrong. So these things, although you try to get rid of them, they again and again they come, right? So
yeah.
let the mind reason it out. Try and see if you are at fault, then you can do something to correct it. Let's say you can apologize, or you can do some other thing to correct the mistake you have done. So if that helps to make peace in your mind, then that is fine, do it. And with that act, you can adjust yourself. You can go back to normal, right? But here the time is the most important thing. When it comes to dramatic situations, you can't suddenly forget them, although you wish that is not happening. So depending on the wound, it takes time to heal, right? So it is important that you give enough time to that incident, right? And with mindfulness, the act that we are doing is we are accepting. We are not suppressing these thoughts, emotions. It's like removing the bandage and, exposing the wound. And when you do that, of course, it is hurtful. And you don't want to do that, right? But with mindfulness, we accept that we are wounded and we expose the wound, right? That exposure helps us to heal faster. Otherwise, if you keep suppressing, then it is never ending. Sometimes you get some other difficulty, mental difficulty due to suppressing, right? So with mindfulness, although it is difficult initially, we expose, we accept that we are wounded, we accept that we have troubles, we accept that we have these emotions, thoughts, right? That acceptance is important, and that helps with the healing process. The healing becomes faster and faster, right? So that is the important part. Let's say if you feel that you have done something wrong, right? Then you can go apologize. Maybe not to the person that was involved. Maybe go tell somebody else, a friend, right? Somebody you trust. You can go and say, right? Then can you, after doing that act, can you make peace with yourself? Can you move forward? That is important. We do these things to support letting go and moving forward with ourselves. If there's something that you have to do, do it and finish it. Then are we happy? Are we ready to move forward? So that's the important thing. Even when it comes to things like precepts, some people take it as a hindrance. They always worry, okay, I have broken this, will I go to hell? All those things come. But as soon as you notice, okay, I have done this something wrong, and I will correct myself in the future, then you are forgiven. It is like confessing your sins, right? You just notice, I have done this wrong, and I will correct myself in the future. That is the importance of the precepts. We take it as a tool to let go and be more and more present. Otherwise, if you take it as a hindrance, then it's not the purpose, right? We take it, we make a determination to correct ourselves in the future, and we let go. Things happen. Even you could be a monk, you could be a lay person, you make mistakes. It is human. It is human. So what we do is, with the precepts, we accept that we have done something wrong and we are moving forward. In monkhood, there's this tradition, which is somewhat, confessing your sins. There's this tradition that you go to some other monk and you tell him that I have done something wrong. Then that monk come back and ask, do you see the fault? Then I say, yes, I see the fault. Then that monk is advising, not advising. He's like reminding Buddha's names and saying that, then brother, correct yourself in the future. So that is the idea of the precepts. That is the idea of the monkhood. You could be a lay person, but still you have some things. So this is the way. As soon as you notice that you have done something wrong, as soon as you make a determination that I will avoid this in the future, then you are forgiven. You don't have to even go to somebody and tell. If it helps, go and tell, that's fine. But that is not the important part. The important part is realizing, accepting that I have done something wrong, and then make a determination that I will correct myself in the future. As soon as you do that, you are forgiven. You don't have to renew the precepts. You are forgiven, right? And after a while, it could happen again. Why? Because we are humans. right? It could happen again. Then again, you make a determination that I have done this again. I will try to correct myself. So this is the process of purification. It's not like, make a determination and suddenly you become pure. It's not going to happen. Not in this world, not in this human life. It's a gradual process that you may better yourself little by little. Every day you make an effort. Every day you try, you fail. Again, tomorrow you try, you fail. But when you continue for a few years, few months, then you realize that I have achieved much progress. That is the idea of purification. Otherwise, if you can do it suddenly, then it's a magical thing. No, that's not. This is more and more human. You correct yourself little by little. Every day you make yourself better. There are drawbacks. There are certain incidents that, take you back for a few weeks, few months. That's fine. Again, you start. Again, you start. When you do this, you realize that this mind is more and more faster returning to the natural states, which you call resilience. That practitioner, their resilience is higher. If you are not practicing, then it takes months for you to recover. But the practitioner, they recover within a week or two. Next time they recover within a day or two. Next time they recover within few hours. So that's how it goes. So you have to give time. You have to continue your practice. You have to make yourself, do certain things and, forget them. Forget the incidents, do something, do correct them, then forget it, then move forward. Again, something might happen. Then again, you make a determination, you correct yourself. Again, you start moving. So that's the way. So try and see if doing something helps, then do it. After doing it, can I be at peace? Can I move forward? So that's the idea. It's not a sudden process. Instead, it's a gradual process. Little by little, you become better every day.
That's great, Bhante. Thank you. Because I can see like now, so by doing that, each time you get knocked down, you get up, you get knocked down, you get up, then you're training the mind to see that. And eventually, well, hopefully, your mind will become stronger, and then you're easier to let go, because you can see that things are just coming, and then you have no control of what's happening to you, and then you're reacting, and then you're getting emotional about something or blaming yourself. And then you, first of all, as Bhante said, so I would accept that, then on keep on doing that, and in the long term I might get fed up of doing that, and then hopefully then be able to let go, possibly. Maybe would that be correct way of thinking?
Yeah, the most important thing is, if you are doing something wrong, accepting it as something wrong, noticing it as something wrong. And, in your mind, you are not ignorant, So there's this saying that, if you do something knowing that it is wrong, then you have less difficulty, less karma, you say, right? But if you are ignorant, the karma is stronger, because you in your mind, you grab it stronger, right? Let's say if you know that there is electricity in a wire, then you are careful touching it. You are careful grabbing it, because there's a risk. But if you don't know, if you think the wire is safe, then you grab it more stronger. So that's the difference. Knowing something, accepting something as wrong. Still you are doing it. Probably you are doing it. That's fine. In your mind, you know that you are doing something wrong. But somebody else, he is ignorant and he thinks this is correct and he's doing. So that second person is having even more calmer,
Yeah.
more
But
trouble
I was just
recovery.
thinking in terms of like in cases where you're not at fault, but others are just they just react, well, they're just blaming you, or you're just getting, but you haven't done anything wrong, then you just got to accept it basically, and then not react, and then just try and let it go each time. In
Yeah,
those
if
sorts of
you think
cases.
that you haven't done anything wrong, then that's fine. Now it's just dealing with other people, right?
Yeah.
So that's not your problem. It's somebody else's problem. Then it is easier to deal with it. Just, tell them that something, tell them something that will, discourage them. Not like blaming, shouting. Instead, react differently, right? Let's say now they say you are a fool, right? Then you say, okay, true, I am a fool, right? So just by that response, they will go away, because now they can't, agitate you saying that, right? Instead, you are accepting, and they just go away because no interest is there. If you are rejecting, no, how can you say that? You are blaming me, blah, blah, blah. Then they come again and again because it's fun for them. But if you just accept, you have to let go of your ego to do that. That's true. But if you just accept, then suddenly they realize no more fun here because this person is accepting, right? So that's how you have to deal with other people. That's something else. But in your mind, if you are sure that you haven't done anything wrong, then that's fine. It's just dealing with other people and how to maneuver that situation.
Thank you, Bhante. That's really helpful. Thank you, Sadhu.
And this is the opportunity for you to present a question if you have anything to do with your practice, day-to-day activities. Please make use of the time. Thank you. May I ask a question, Bhante?
Yes.
This is about Bhante. These days, a lot of things happening in Sri Lanka. So, I was thinking as a practitioner, it's really challenging actually not to get involved, but still your mind dragged away with many things. So for example, this morning I'll get up and I have to look at something for the phone, and I have blocked certain people, especially in the social media. But I made a mistake and I have unblocked him. Then I could see a lot of things flash to the screen. So the thing is, sometimes unintentionally those things sitting in your mind, and it drags you. The time you are not practicing or you're not mindful. So one occasion I try to see it, how my mind trying to react to it. So I could see it. Actually, the mind doesn't want to go with those things. I could see the pain in the mind as well, but those thoughts dragged you. So I feel like practicing the present moment is a bit of challenging as well. But that time I'll try to observe my posture, see what happened to my posture. So I could see that my posture is quite balanced, and but again, so I could see there are many things happening at the same time. So you have the anger one side, then you have the pain inside, and you have your posture, what you are doing. So, but still, I could see the anger is boiling inside. But so I feel it. My mind like to see the posture because it doesn't like the pain. So just I thought to just share with that, and if you can give your advice. So if you are having a bit of boiling the anger inside, so what sort of things to do? Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, that same question I had a few weeks ago. Now, here in Sri Lanka, we have this troubling situation. So I am in a forest monastery, still the information get through, you can avoid even certain devices, you can avoid society, but somehow the information, get through. So that happens, right? And all these political views, ideas, anger, they come. So it is natural because we are living in this situation. This present situation, it's chaos, right? So probably you can try and avoid. And for a beginner, of course, we try to warn him and ask him to avoid difficult situations. But more and more you practice, you have to, live in the reality, live in the present moment. There could be chaos. It's true. But still, you know how to separate your mind from this chaos. That's what you are saying. Anger is there and the body is there. Anger is there, the breath is there. This point of view is very important. Otherwise, your entire world is anger. Now you know anger is there. That's only a certain portion. But my body is there. Breathing is there. Thoughts are there. Sounds are there. Now the portion of anger is reducing. So that's important. That's important. Otherwise, our entire world becomes anger. And you are totally lost. Right? So that is the idea of that activity that we did initially when we start. You identify, you notice. By the simple act, these emotions, they lose majority of their power. Instead of becoming the entire world, they become only a portion of the world. So this is what you called wisdom. The wisdom of the practitioner, that they see the bigger picture, right? So when you do that type of a practice, little by little, you can go back to the social media. You can go to goal phase and see how your mind is reacting, right? How much involved would you get compared to earlier times, right? So that's the advantage of practice. That is what Buddha is recommending. He is giving two sides, right? That was our topic some few days back. He is giving two sides. In one way, he is saying avoid. Go to a forest, go under a tree and meditate. In another way, he is saying, although you avoid people, you can't be really free. He is showing the other side, right? It's not physically avoiding people. That won't help you to, be free. Instead, you are avoiding them in your mind. You are avoiding these emotions, thoughts in your mind. When I say avoiding, that's not the correct word. You are distancing yourself. You are distancing yourself from these thoughts, emotions. By doing that, you have much better control over situations. So that is the wisdom, that wisdom, that distance between the objects and your mind is the wisdom that we are talking. Because now you are not a slave to those emotions, thoughts. They don't have so much control over you. Instead, thoughts, emotions are there, but still the body is there, the breath is there, the sounds are there. You start to see bigger and bigger picture when you practice more and more. So that is why it is important to, in a way, test yourself in these situations. These are good situations that you can test yourself, right? If you are a practitioner, this is a good time to test. When somebody come and blame you, that's a good time to test yourself. Okay, am I angry? If I am angry, better not to react. If I am not angry, then you can say something, right? You can, poke him a little bit more and try to see his response. Only if you are not angry. If you are angry, you can't do that, right? Then you are dragged into that situation. So those are incidents that we can practice a little bit more, right? But you have to develop your practice in order to use these situations. Otherwise, we just become slaves to them, slaves to these situations. So these difficulties, they come with teachings. They tell the truth in this universe. So they are good opportunities for us to improve our practice. Now these days, the cicadas, they are everywhere. They are making this really annoying sound throughout the day, right? So where people go and they try to, observe breath. And after a while, they get sick of it because they can't keep attention there. So what can you do? You have to be with the present moment. It could be sounds. It could be, difficult to maintain attention with the breath. But where is the attention? Okay, I can hear these insects. Okay, I just be with that process. So that is accepting the reality. That is how we have to face. Otherwise, you can avoid, but somehow they will get through. Somehow somebody will come and blame you. So that's the importance of the practice. If you practice, you can be in Golface or somewhere else, doesn't matter. As long as you have this practice in your mind, doesn't matter where you stay, among the crowd or isolated, doesn't matter. Could be a monk or a layperson, doesn't matter. Whatever the clothes you are wearing, a robe or lay clothes, doesn't matter. What's important is that the practice inside you, the real peace that you have attained through it. So if you have that peace, if you have that practice, then you won. You are a winner. Wherever you go, you are a winner because you have this ability in your mind.
Thank you, Bhante. Yeah, I understood that. Quite interesting, Bhante, that you see whether you get anger, then you should stop reacting. But if it is it's no anger, then say if you have anger, Bhante, then the practice is still, I know you said to keep a distance from the anger. Still you have the anger and you feel it, you felt it, you have the anger. So is it to watch it or keep with the anger or stay with the anger? Is it if you can do it? So it's the practice. So we simplify that way.
I can't really show you a single path to walk. Try and see what helps. Does the observing anger helps? Is it better to take your attention somewhere else? Is it better to, observe the breath or the body? But of course, these emotions you can't avoid. They are there. And they are there to stay, right? So you have to see what is the thing that helps me. For some people, it helps to, do some heavy work, go for a walk. So those are the tricks that you can use. Sometimes, you can go and do some heavy duty work. And if you have a proper workout, bad moods, they can't stay. 30, 40 minutes of a proper workout, then definitely these bad moods, they go away. I think that happens when somebody else logged in as host. So I sent you an email. I think the meeting was disrupted due to that.
But no one else logged in from what I didn't see anyone appearing.
No, the what happens is that the current meeting ends, then somebody else will create a new meeting or something like that happens. So that's how it ends like this suddenly. Anyway,
I know. It has happened to me as well. Okay, yeah. Bhante, I think let's, if Bhante is okay, I'm okay to proceed as usual from the point we ended the meeting ended.
Yes, we can just finish the meeting. Anyway, we didn't have enough time to do a separate talk. Yes. That's fine. I think we had enough discussions.
Yes. Okay, Bhante. In that case, I would still like to proceed sharing the screen for the introduction for any person who is beginning today, who has a refresher. I will share the screen now. Okay, you can see on screen the few steps to take if you are starting mindfulness practices, and then you can use these to strengthen your initiation. Firstly, you will have to watch the 2 videos on mindfulness. Each video will guide you on mindful walking, and the next video will guide you on mindful sitting. You will have to, in mindful walking, you will have to observe how your mind focuses on the act of walking, contact between the sole of your feet and the floor, and any rhythm or body movement of the body. And in mindful sitting, you can observe whether your focus moves to the breath, moving in and out, or to the abdomen, rising or falling, and your body posture or the thoughts coming into the mind and disturbing you and distracting you, perhaps. And with these with 2 videos, you will have some gain some familiarity on what you can expect and what you can do in these 2 sessions. Then you can allocate a small time daily, starting from about 10 or 15 minutes to about 1 hour for each session. Mindful walking first, and then mindful sitting. The reason why we always recommend this practice is because for a person starting up, it's not advisable to go on without these sessions. When you start mastering, you can skip mindful sitting and mindful walking if the time does not permit, but even persons who are practicing at expert level will keep on maintaining a rigorous schedule of mindful walking and mindful sitting in this way, even though they are mindful during their daily activities to a certain extent. So for a beginner, and for us, it is absolutely essential that we try to maintain some time allocation daily to practice these 2 activities. Then the third step is to write down your experience in a written format on mindful walking, mindful sitting, and also you can include another section on mindful daily activities as a third item. But you can start with mindful walking and mindful sitting for a written report. And then you can send the reports in email to beginnersnv@gmail.com, or you can submit them through the Google form, and you can also go to the mindful practice audio archive in the Nissarana Vanaya Forest Monastery website, which I can show you soon. And with this, you can comfortably start off developing or increasing your mindfulness. And it is quite essential that we start doing these simple activities, because they are so powerful that you will feel you shift to a mode of automatic mindfulness after a certain period of time. It could vary from person to person, but you will get there. So for now, I will stop sharing the screen. Bhante, there is a request in the Zoom chat section asking for at least a 10-minute talk from Bhante. I know that Bhante has another program. So
that's fine. We can take about 10 minutes.
Okay, up to you, Bhante. Totally up to you.
Are you done with your...
Yes, Bhante, I'm done. Yes.
Okay. Right. So everybody, I think we had a good session today. We discussed about the practice, and we heard your practice reports, and we will take some time to discuss a little bit about the practice. Right. Now, for today, I thought of mentioning something, an analogy given in Zen, right? Now, they are giving an example of a drunken person, and they are saying, now this person is drunk, and due to that drunkenness, he is not rigid, and he falls from a cart, and he is not injured due to that, right? Because this person was drunk and he was not rigid, and due to that drunkenness, he fall from a cart and he's not injured, right? So they are not promoting alcoholism. Instead, they are giving something else. They are saying a certain level of flexibility will help you to meet your day-to-day challenges, to overcome your day-to-day challenges, a certain level of flexibility. So that relates to the earlier discussion that we were having. When somebody come and blame you, if you are rigid, then you may go after them. You want to blame them even stronger. That is how we usually react. But the practitioner, they have a different purpose in their mind. They have a different point of view in their mind. So instead of blaming these people, instead of fighting with them, they have a certain level of flexibility. So let's say somebody come and blame you. They say you are a fool, right? So if you respond in your usual way, then you have so many things for them to say. You want to hit them, you want to blame them. So that's how your usual response is. But if you say it could be true, I'm not that wise anyway, if you respond like that, then their energy goes away and you have a faster way of overcoming that situation. So that type of a flexibility is welcome into your life, because if you have that flexibility, then you navigate this world better. You navigate this world with less friction. So that is something to keep in mind, right? Don't try to prove your point always. Just have your ideas, have your views in your mind, but don't go arguing with other people. Don't try to, give them more and more information, don't try to make them agree with you. Instead, we have to agree to disagree. Somebody else can have a different opinion, but that shouldn't be disturbing your peace. Instead, let them have their opinions, let them walk their paths, and you try to maintain your internal peace. So this internal peace, it shouldn't be dependent on the outside, because outside conditions you can never control. You may try, but you are usually failing. The weather you can't control. Other people's reactions you can't control. So if your happiness is dependent on the weather, on other people's reactions, then how can you be truly happy? You can't really control outside things. You can't really control outside people. Instead, what you can control is your reaction toward these situations, toward these people. That you can control. Maybe not initially. You usually come with that automatic reaction, which is not healthy, of course. But with practice, you can change internally. You can change your way of thinking. You can change your view of things. And that change is internal. So again, we come back to our earlier discussion. The country may be in trouble. People are protesting everywhere. Certain necessaries are not there. But still, are you dependent on these external things? If you are dependent on that, then of course it is difficult to attain a lasting peace in your mind. Of course, you have to eat to survive. You have to wear something. Basic necessities are there, but still, majority of these things you don't really need. So if you have control inside, if you can control the reaction to these situations and people, then that's the way to have lasting peace in your mind. Otherwise, your peace is always dependent on the outside situations and things. When the weather is good, you are happy. When the people praise you, you are happy. But when it is bad, when the weather is bad, when the people blame you, you are unhappy. So always your happiness, your peace will depend on these outside things. The way people react, the seasons. That's not the proper way to attain some lasting peace. You can't really change outside people. You can't really change weather, but you can change it internally. So that is why this practice is important. With mindfulness, we pay more and more attention. We notice all little details. And that helps us to see a bigger picture. That's why I said earlier, when you see anger, if you are not a practitioner, your entire world becomes anger. If you are a practitioner, then anger is there, this burning sensation is there, this energy is there, but breath is there also. The surrounding sounds are also there. Maybe your sitting posture, that too you can feel. So if you have that wider view, then your anger loses its energy. It doesn't have the control that it used to have. So that's how you try to change your internal condition. That's the way to attain a lasting happiness, lasting peace in this world. So that's why even the practitioners, they sometimes go to the crowd. They sometimes go to the people. They go to unhealthy situations. They go to unhealthy people and try and stay some time there. Try to observe how their mind is responding to these situations, how the mind is responding to these people. In a way, they are doing a test to see how their practice has progressed. So let these situations come. You don't have to go chasing after them. Instead, they will come naturally. Wherever you live, how many social apps you block, still these information somehow get through to you. Still somehow troubling information, troubling situations will come. When they come, it's time for you to practice. So every situation you face like a meditation. Every situation you try and see, how can I respond better? How can I maneuver better? And when you have that attitude in your mind, you always progress little by little. Not suddenly, not within a day or two, but over some time, you notice that I have made progress. So that's the purification that we are talking. It happens little by little. You notice certain things. You notice I have done something wrong. You make a determination to correct yourself in the future. So little by little, you make yourself better. And that practice will definitely help you to attain lasting peace and happiness in your mind. Always remember, outside conditions, outside people, you can't really control. It's only the inner reaction that you can change. That's where you have the power over. So try and see, how can I respond to these situations better? How can I respond in a healthy way? Now, even the person who is talking, me, I'm also having trouble at certain times. So various people, they come, they have their various ideas, things. So sometimes you get angry. And today also something happened that I was angry and I wanted to say something. I was walking towards that person and suddenly I realized that this is not the correct person to blame. I didn't see his face properly. I saw him from the other side and I thought this is the person and I was going to blame him. And suddenly you realize that, this is not the correct person, right? So these things are lessons that you can, really learn. You have time. It's not a problem within a day or two. It's not a problem to solve within a week or two. Instead, we have time. You have time to make mistakes. You have time to correct yourself. Again, you will make mistakes. Again, you can correct yourself. So that's why this practice is really living. This is a lifelong practice that we are recommending. Always there's opportunity for you to get better. Always there's opportunity for you to reap more from a situation. So that is why we say purification. Little by little, you attain certain things. Little by little, you become skillful. So try to respond in various ways. Try to see the healthy ways. Try to find out healthy ways. And you can experiment. Sometimes people come and blame. And if you are not angry, you can say something and poke them even more. Right? And they will respond again. Again, you say something else. Then suddenly that person also realizing this is not the correct way. He is not responding in the correct way. Maybe he is, poking me instead of getting angry, instead of becoming slave to those emotions. So these are ways to improve yourself. So give it some time. Try to practice again and again. When you face these difficult situations, difficult people, try to enter that situation as a meditation. Try to be attentive, try to be extra attentive and see, how am I responding? How am I reacting? Am I angry? Do I have some other emotion in my mind? What am I thinking? So that way you are making yourself better. That way you are trying to find lasting peace and happiness. If you try to find it in the outside world, then that's not working. Instead, it is internal. So having a little bit of flexibility helps. So the analogy of water is given. Water takes the shape of the cup. And usually water gathers in unpopular places. But when the time is right, one of the most erosive powers on the surface of the earth. So think yourself as that analogy. Can I adjust myself according to the situations? Can I become more and more flexible according to the situations? And your time will, of course, come. When the time is right, you can be aggressive. You can achieve certain things. But when the time is not right, you take the shape of the cup. You gather in unpopular places. You become a little flexible. So that is the way that we have to face this life. If you become rigid, then you lose a lot of energy. And even with that energy loss, still you haven't achieved anything. So that's the idea for today. And I hope you can implement these things in your day-to-day life, in your practice, and come back with the feedback. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Bhante, and many merits for Bhante to give that talk quickly. And I appreciate the patience of everyone in this session. And what an excellent chance we had to practice mindfulness for those 2-3 minutes where the session just ended. That's where the practice will come and take care of you. Even I was quite surprised, but then I felt, okay, this is the testing ground, test bench, where what we practice comes into prominence and lets us know what to do next. So the logical choice for me was to restart the meeting and hope and pray the others will join the meeting, and Bhante joined. So think of it that way in a positive manner, but still technically apologies for the incident, and we will ensure to be more careful in future. So with that, I would like to quickly thank Venerable Bhante Homagamu Dhamma Kusala Thero for spending Bhante's own scheduled time with us, delivering such a magnificent and insightful message of mindfulness, especially through the first in-session practice, and then the Q&A session, and then the talk itself. And I'm sure many of you feel that, all of you feel that this is a very valued thing to have in our life throughout. And as Bhante mentioned very specifically, this is a practice that takes a lifetime to master, or even more maybe, but still we just keep at it moment by moment, and the practice, the teaching is so powerful that you will start seeing results from the very moment you start practicing this. So much merits to Bhante for joining us today, and hope Bhante is able to join in future sessions, and we wish all merits to improve Bhante's own practice too. Then I would like to thank and mention and appreciate all the organizers who have worked hard to bring this into reality, and all the organizers who are still working hard to continue and sustain this program. And I would also like to thank Most Venerable Bhante Homagama, Most Venerable Bhante Udayiragama Dhammajiva Mahathero for insightfully initiating or requesting this program to come into reality. And with that, I would like to go to 3 quick announcements. I will share the screen for those quickly. Okay, you can see on screen now the website for Nissarana. It's nissarana.lk, and you can go on this website and gather information on current news from Nissarana Vanaya Forest Monastery. And the second announcement is for the website on Satapasala Foundation, where you can go and see what kind of programs will interest you, and you can start taking part in those programs, if any, and also you can have a general understanding of what happens. This website is quite useful to you because this foundation is Satapasala Foundation is all about practicing mindfulness in during daily activities, and also during mindful walking and mindful sitting. So it is dedicated to that message, and you can gain a lot from going into this website. So I will stop sharing the screen on the second message. And the third message is for you to have the courage to invite others who may be of a likely mind to appreciate this message of mindfulness, and to keep on inviting them to participate in these sessions, which we have on every Saturday. With that, I'm happy to say that today's program is coming to an end, and we would be having the same session next week. And I wish you a mindful and happy week ahead, and hope to see you participating in this session next Saturday, this program next Saturday. And I wish you all the best for your mindfulness practices. Thank you for attending today. Much merits.